What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and you know I love to fly. Fast, slow, high, low, horizontal, vertical, through the clouds, or through the atmosphere. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you for the first time a first look at World of Aircraft Glider Simulator, which is the first of a series of standalone simulators that each focuses on a specific kind of flying. Now, I've never really been interested in gliders, but maybe this will change my mind. As you can see here in my pilot profile, I've already been doing some testing, and my goal is to beat my personal best height and distance. If you're new to gliders or just new to the game, you can play through the training missions to get started. Very helpful, because I knew absolutely nothing before starting here. There is also a multiplayer which can be really fun with a friend. This is a pre-release version, so there are not many people online, so hopefully it'll be better for you. The downside is there's only 4 players per session, and you have to be paired with someone who wants to be a tow to join. It's weird, but I haven't been able to try it yet. As for options, you have your usual settings. You don't need any crazy specs to run this sim. You can also customize your keyboard, controller, and HOTAS commands here. And I haven't got the replay working yet in this version, so let's check out Free Flight. The game comes with 4 gliders and a tow plane, so we are gonna try them all. Alright, so let's set up our weather here on the left side. We'll do cumulus clouds, wind direction, it'll be around 208 or so. Wind speed, we'll set that to, I don't know, 4 knots. That sounds good to me. And then we're gonna do a towed takeoff. So we're gonna have the AI help us get into the air. I'm gonna click on that and hit fly. Loading times are a little bit longer than I would expect for a game of this size, but I'm also not running this on my SSD. Alright, we're somewhere on a grass field in Germany, just south of Frankfurt, next to the Rhine River, and we have a tow plane up there ahead of us, and we're in our little glider. Let's go ahead and hit the space bar to start. See that tow plane firing up? It's gonna start pulling us. You can see the little piece of string shooting to the left. That means the wind is going from left to right. Oh boy. Oh, look at that dust. Wow. Look at that, we're already in the air before the tow plane. Alright, so we can actually use our controls here to kind of continue to follow him the best we can. I'm going to use that on the left side, on the right side, that bridge as kind of like a visual reference of where the airport is to kind of remember. There's no GPSs in this game. This is completely VFR. Alright, let's kind of come down. I want to be a bit lower than this. So right now the tow plane is still pulling us. He will continue to pull us until we decide that we want to, him to let us go. Alright, as I'm following the tow plane, basically trying to stay directly in trail of the plane. I'm gonna keep the wheels of the tow plane right on the horizon. That's good, but we're at a really good altitude now. Like, we're pretty darn high. It is a pretty nice tow. So I'm gonna go ahead and release the rope here by hitting the backspace key, and that's gonna let it go. That sounds amazing. And as he goes to the left, I'm gonna brake to the right. And here we go. Now we are just gliding. There is no propeller on this glider. Some of them have them. This particular glider does not have it. We're going to be doing a test later of the other glider that does have the propeller. But as you can see, our speed coming way back as we're not getting that pull anymore. And this is really interesting. Again, kind of learning the art of gliding. I've had to learn a lot in order to actually get these things to fly successfully. In real life, you can get these things to glide for hundreds of kilometers, they say. Everything in this game is in like meters and kilometers. I'm American, so I have no idea how high we are, but we up here. We are definitely up here. So the name of the game here is finding air, right, to get us up higher. I mean, we're doing okay right now, but really what we need to do is trim this glider out to a good attitude, that we can kind of like not really have our nose right on the horizon like you would in a normal powered aircraft like I'm used to, but kind of like you're going to be continually in a bit of a descent, and that's okay. But you really want to watch your actual airspeed and watch that and see if you're you kind of want to basically just continue to be at the same airspeed. Right now we're right around 85, 82. So if I can stay around there, I'll be happy. So if I put the nose down, we will gain some speed. If I bring the nose up, we'll lose some speed. But we've been continuing kind of like gliding slowly down. You can see on the right side, this right side screen over here is actually basically our vertical speed, showing we're going down, I don't know, a few, I don't know, meters or whatever down per second, which is okay in a glider. That's kind of normal. But one thing you'll notice, you see all these birds flying around in here. And if you guys are familiar with glider flying, is that a lot of times birds will kind of flock to what they call a thermal area. And a thermal is basically a pocket of hot air over the surface of the earth, and that hot air will be rising. And if you can find that pocket of hot air, it'll actually push up your glider and allow you to gain altitude without sacrificing airspeed. And it's kind of an art to it. I am not an expert. I've been flying gliders for a whole 1 hour. So I'm definitely not good. But look at this, check it out. We just found one. You see on the right side of that screen, or that thing, it shows that we're now climbing, but we're not gaining speed. That means we just found a thermal. That was actually pretty easy to find. And as you can see, there's actually birds kind of circling the area. A lot of times, like I said, the birds will be flying and circling in there. So if you want to continue to gain altitude, you want to find those air pockets, those hot air pockets or thermals, and you want to kind of circle that area. You can see those birds down there kind of going in a big circle. So it kind of is the game's way of kind of helping you find where those areas are. So I'm gonna sort of fly in this direction again. We flew in it and we flew out of it pretty quickly. All I need right now is to get enough air or enough momentum to get us back to where we started from. And there it is. I think I just found another one. Yeah, I can feel it. Listen to it. Wow. Look at our altitude shoot up. That's crazy. That is crazy. And so now we're flying out of it. Now the airspeed is continuing to be the same. I'm trying to keep my airspeed the same, and then our vertical speed is now going back down. So that's a thermal, guys, and that is basically the basics of flying a glider. And the crazy fact is that they've modeled that so freaking well in the sim. I feel like if you're a glider pilot, or if you have any experience with gliders in real life, you will really, really appreciate this simulator. All right, we're turning left base back for the grass strip that we started out on. I'm gonna put out our speed brakes, and we do have to watch out for thermals on approach. Sometimes there may be a thermal right in the area that you're gonna be approaching from, so you gotta be careful with that. We are pretty darn fast, I'll say that much. So this may not be a very legit landing this time around, but I'm gonna do my best here. And I think there has to be a thermal or something down here, because I'm getting so much more lift than I want to. I am dropping the flaps now, which would actually give me a little bit more. And I'm landing on the left side of the field, because it looks like the tow plane is on the right side of the field. So the flaps are fully down, and so are the speed brakes. And here we come for our landing on the grass strip here, back on the ground. Gotta be careful. Speed's coming back, just like landing a regular plane for the most part. I'm gonna keep that nose up though. And we're down. I think we balanced it a little bit. We're kind of skimming the grass right now, so have a lot of speed. Using the rudder pedals to keep ourselves centered best we can. Also still using the ailerons to kind of keep the wings off the grass so we don't go into a spin. And I'm gonna start pulling the joystick all the way back. And there it is. You see that left wing now touch the ground. It's gonna put us in a little bit of a spin here. Not too bit of a problem. And so I've got plenty of room for that. Very, very nice on the landing. I can dig it. I can dig it. All right, quick note. The ASK-21 and the ASK-21MI are actually pretty much the same glider, except the ASK-21MI has a small propeller on it. So that's the one we're going to try next. All right, this glider is a bit more modern, and the cool thing about this one is it actually has its own little propeller. If I hit the left bracket, it pops out its little propeller. And then if I hit the E key, it will fire it up. Now that is freaking cool. Man, I really like that. I will say this downside, none of the cockpits in these gliders are actually clickable, so you have to use the key commands or whatever you map it to. So let's go ahead and get started on the grass strip. Again, same weather conditions, same everything. I'm gonna give it full throttle. Oh boy. Alright, those sounds are crazy good, and I was a little bit messy, a little dirty on that takeoff, but it's all good. We're just gonna go to keep rolling, keep flying, and we're looking good. One thing I also want to point out is that the wing flex on the wings is really nice. Check this out. As I roll left and right, you can see the aileron moving as well as the actual wings themselves. So very nice feature there. There's a magic button. The magic button is H. If you click and hold H, it will actually, it's hilarious, but it'll climb you up to whatever altitude you want to be at. So I'm gonna climb myself up pretty darn high just to kind of fast forward here. And that looks good to me. Let go of H. Now we're flying at this altitude. I can now retract my my propeller here. Actually, I'm gonna hit the E key again. That's gonna shut the engine off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hide it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this here. That's gonna stow it back in where it was. And now we of course need to take control of the glider. See lots of birds flying around here, so there must be a lot of thermals out here. So it's pretty cool. But I want to do something. I want to test a stall, so we can see what that looks like. You could also do aerobatics in this glider too, which is a lot of fun. But first we're gonna do a stall. So I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up. Very nice. Very nice. And of course we don't have an engine, or we do have an engine, but we're not using it, so we have to just kind of use the pitch. Alright, now we're in the Diamond HK36, and it's kind of a funny looking glider. It does have a propeller, and it actually looks like somebody sat on it. But so it's not the most, for me personally, it's not the most good looking glider, but it does the job. So we're gonna test this one out next. Let's go ahead and hop inside, and we'll get it started just by hitting the E key. It's that easy. As you can tell, each of these gliders all have their own custom sounds, you know, specifically for that own airframe and propellers, and they've done a lot of really good things with the flight model and sounds and things like that. So let's go ahead and give it some power. I really love the ground contact sounds. I love, you can hear the shaking of the airframe as we give it the speed. Oh, I'm putting full right rudder right now, trying to get off of the ground. This one's a bit harder to fly. I think that wind is really taking me away. This one doesn't have the little ribbon on the nose. I guess it wouldn't really make the same difference with the propeller there. So far of all the gliders I've tested, so this is kind of the most difficult to fly, and it feels heavier too. So this is the other airport. There's two airports included in the map that comes with the base game. I don't know the ICAO codes for them. They're both in Germany. They're like, you know, a few miles apart from each other. This is the second one we haven't looked at just yet. There's also a little, I think there's a little museum attached to this one. We can take a look at it later. Alright, I decided to stay in a pattern for this test flight, and I'm going to come in pretty steep here. And the engine is actually windmilling right now. I'm not giving it power. You're hearing it rev up because it's windmilling. And we're probably coming in way too fast, but we're going to see what we can do. A bit turbulent too, coming over those buildings. I want to see if we get any kind of ground effect here. going down. I really like the touchdown sounds. Oh I can't keep it on the runway. What is going on? Oh man. Next up, the tow glider. All right, we're in the tow. As you can see, we actually have a wire back there, or a rope, that's going to be pulling the glider, the same one that we started today's video off with. Let's hop inside. You can see what the interior looks like. And it looks pretty good. Honestly, I think all the planes did a really good job on the actual, 3D models, of visuals of the actual aircraft and gliders. All look really well done. One downside is you can't actually click anything inside the cockpits, but that's okay because this is kind of more geared towards people who are, just getting into flight sim, or people who just really want to, really turn down on that glider experience and really nail catching those winds. Let's go ahead and hit the E key. That's going to get us started. Once again, custom sounds sound great. Let's go ahead and give some power. And we're off, we're rolling. Airspeed is alive. The tail wheel's up. And we're airborne. Alright, gonna pull up the flaps. The nose does drop slightly when you do that, but I already anticipated for it. As you see us fly by, you can see that the glider behind us is trailing along. You can also hit F2 a second time to go and look at the glider itself. So the cool thing is, in multiplayer, you could be in this plane, in this aircraft, and you can tow your friends and carry them up, which is a pretty cool thing to do. So once I get that working, maybe I'll give it a try. All right, as you can see, the glider has already disconnected. It's up to the glider themselves to decide when to disconnect. I don't know if the AI is gonna fly that glider back down to ground. If I click on F2 a second time, you can see we actually spectate that glider now. And again, I don't really know where he's going or what he's gonna do. We're going to take our plane back to that second airfield that we saw. All right, coming in for our final landing right next to the big, is that a church or a cathedral or something like that? We'll keep our speed slow, coming in off our left base. Drop in the flaps. When I stay in the power. You can see birds flying just over the approach, so there's probably a thermal here. The thermals do affect all the aircraft, not just the gliders. It's a normal thing in the aviation world, so it just kind of makes you more aware of it when you get into gliding. All right, here we go. Let's keep her in her air. We still got a lot of runway left. We are down. Very nice. Very, very nice. Sweet. Alright, that's Glider Simulator, and it's actually pretty darn cool. It did change my mind and outlook on gliders. I'm definitely more open-minded, and I do actually want to do some glide training in the future. Like, I'm very honest about that. So if I said anything wrong, did anything wrong, and you know a lot about gliders or have any questions about gliders, either way, leave that down in the comments. So far, the game's pretty fun. Again, this is a pre-release version, so some features may be missing, but I think it runs really well. Physics and flight models are really darn good. I think right now, as far as my opinion, the only downsides are the scenery. I was hoping for more of a Aerofly FS style scenery, a bit more detail in the city and in the buildings and ground textures, but you can tell the focus is really in the physics here. Also, multiplayer is a bit confusing, but again, this is early, and I also kind of feel like there's a lack of gameplay. 25,000 square kilometer map size, so plenty area to explore, but I would like to have some type of missions or just kind of something to guide you around all of that, rather than just flying in circles looking for birds. But as always, please leave me your thoughts, feedback, and opinions. Until next time, remember you have 3 choices: give up, give in, or give it all you got. Peace, love, God bless you. I will see you guys next time, next video. I'm out.